Hello and welcome to Orbit's Book at Bedtime. I'm RJ Barker. Welcome to my home as well. I suppose we've got a lovely flickering fire, comfy chair, me, subdued lighting. What more could you want? I'm the author of the Wounded Kingdom books, which are here behind me quite handily. Age of Assassins, Blood of Assassins and King of Assassins. I didn't rehearse that, so it's probably not quite lined up. But I'm not going to read to you from those. I'm going to read to you from my newest book, which is called The Bone Ships. It's about ships, and they're made of bone, which is, the clue is really in the title. I'm going to read to you from the first chapter, and we'll leave it on a lovely cliffhanger, so hopefully you'll feel like you have to dash out and buy it. Also, it's a summer's night, and I'm sat in front of a burning hot fire, so, But, anyway, just get comfortable. You get comfortable too. Give you a minute. Are you ready? I'm ready. Okay. Let's begin. Give me a hat. They are not the sort of words that you expect to start a legend, but they were the first words he ever heard her say. She said them to him, of course. It was early. The scent of fish filled his nose and worked its way into his stomach, awakening the burgeoning nausea. His head ached and his hands trembled in a way that would only be stilled by the first cup of ship wine. Then the pain in his mind would fade as the thick liquid slithered down his gullet, warming his throat and guts. After the first cup would come the second, and with that would come the numbness that told him he was on the way to deadening his mind, where his body was dead, or waiting to be. Then there would be a third cup, and then a fourth cup, and then a fifth, and the day would be over and he would slip into darkness. But the black ship in the quiet harbour would still sit at its rope. Its bones would creak as they pulled against the tide, the crew would moan and creak as they drank on its decks, and he would fall into unconsciousness in this old Flenzer's hut. Here he was, shipwife in name only, commander in word only, failure. Voices from outside, because even here in the long-abandoned and ghost-haunted Flensing yards there was no real escape from others. Not even the memory of Keegan's rot, the disease of the boneyards, could keep people from cutting through. The shattered stone came in on this morning, and they saw an Archaex over Slayholm, said their wind talker fell mad and it nearly wrecked him. Had to kill the creature to stop it bringing a wind, to throw him across a lee shore. I've been an Archaex scene for nigh on my lifetime, brings nothing good. Peg that on a rock for the sea hag. And the voices faded, lost in the hiss of the waves on the beach, eaten up by the sea as everything was destined to be, while he thought on what they said brings nothing good. May as well say that Scary Sigh will rise on the morrow, for this is the 100 Isles. When did good things ever happen here? The next voice he heard was the challenge, delivered while he kept his eyes closed against the tides of nausea ebbing and flowing in hot, acidic waves from his stomach. Give me your hat. A voice thick with the sea. A bird shriek, croak of command, the sort of voice you ran to obey, had you scurrying up the rigging to spread the wings of your ship, and maybe, just maybe, on any other day, or after a single cup of ship wine, maybe he would have done what she said and handed over his two-tailed shipwife's hat, which, along with the bright dye in his hair, marked him out as a commander, though an undeserving one. But in the restless night, his sleep had been troubled by thoughts of his father and thoughts of another life, not a better one, not an easier one, but a sober one without shame. One in which he did not feel the pull of the sea hag's slimy hands trying to drag him down to his end. One of long days at the wing of a flute boat, singing of the sea and pulling on the ropes as his father glowed with pride at how well his little fisher boy worked the winds. Of long days, before his father's strong and powerful body was broken as easily as a thin varisk vine, ground to meat between the side of his boat and the pitiless hull of a bone ship. His hand reaching up from the black water, a bearded face, mouth open as if to call to his boy in his final agonising second. Such strength that man had, and it meant nothing. So maybe he had for once woken with the idea of how wonderful it would be to have a little pride. And if there had been a day for him to give up the two-tailed hat of shipwife, then it was not this day. No, he said. He had to scrape the words out of his mind, and that was exactly how it felt, like he drew the curve of a kernow blade down the inside of his skull, words falling from his mouth, slack as mid-tide. I am shipwife of the tide child, and this is my symbol of command. He touched the rim of the black two-tailed hat. I am shipwife, and you will have to take this hat from me. How strange it felt to say those words, those fleet words that he knew more from his father's stories of service than from any real experience. They were good words though, strong words with a history, and they felt right in his mouth. If he were to die, then they were not bad final words for his father to hear from his place, deep below the sea, standing warm and welcome at the hag's eternal bonfire. He squinted at the figure before him. Thoughts fought in his aching head. Which one of them had come for him? Since he'd become shipwife, he knew a challenge must come. He commanded angry women and men, bad women and men, cruel women and men. And it had only ever been a matter of time before one of his crew wanted the hat and the colours. Was it Barley who stood in the doorhole of the bothy? She was a hard one, violent, but no. Too small for her, and the silhouette of this figure wore its hair long, not cut to the skull. Canvey, then. He was a man jealous of everything and everyone, and quick with his knife. But no. The silhouette appeared female, undoubtedly so. No straight lines to her under the tight fish skin and feather. Well then, she would make a move. And she could swim, so would have been able to get off the ship. He heaved himself up, feeling the still, unfamiliar tug of the kernow at his hip. We fight then, said the figure, and she turned, walking out into the sun, her hair worn long, grey and streaked in the colours of command, bright reds and blues. The sun scattered off the fish skin of her clothing, tightly wound about her muscled body and held in place with straps. Hanging from these straps were knives, small crossbows, and a twisting, shining, jingling assortment of good luck trinkets that spoke of a lifetime of service and violence. Around his shoulders hung a precious feathered cloak, and where the fish skin scattered the sunlight of the feather, the feather cloak hoarded it, twinkling and sparkling, passing motes of light from plume to plume, so each and every colour shone and shouted out its hue. I do like an aside just as a reader. I am going to die, he thought. She idled away from the slanted bothy he had slept in, away from the small and stinking abandoned dock, and he followed. No one was around. He'd chosen this place for its relative solitude, amazed at how easily that could be found, even on an isle as busy as Shipshew. People tended to flock together, to find each other, and of course they shunned such hag-haunted places as this, where the Keejan's curse still slept. Along the shingle beach they walked, her striding, looking for a place, and him following like a lost QI. What of the flightless birds they bred for meat, looking for a flock to join, but of course there was no flock for a man like him, only the surety of the death that he walked towards. She stood with her back to him, as they were not worth her attention. She tested the beach beneath her feet, pushing at the shingle with the toes of her high boots, as if searching for something under the stones that may rear up and bite her. He was reminded of himself as a child, checking the sand for jewel worms before playing alone with a group of imaginary friends, ever the outsider. She should have known it would come to this. When she turned, he did recognise her, knew her. Not socially, not through any action he fought, as he had fought none. But he knew her face. The pointed nose, the sharp cheekbones, the weathered skin, the black patterns drawn around her eyes, and the scintillating golds and greens on her cheeks that marked her as someone of note. He recognised her, had seen her walking before prisoners, seen her walking before children from raids on the Gaunt Islands. Children to be made ready for the 13 burned priests, the thirsty blades, children to be sent to the hag or to ride the bones of ships as corpse lights, merry colours that told of the ship's health. Seen her standing on the prow of a ship, Harakij and dread, named for the sea dragons that provided the bones for the ships and had once been cut apart on the warm beach below them. Named for the sea dragons that no longer care. Named for the sea dragons that were sinking into myth the way a body would eventually sink to the sea floor. But oh, that ship! He'd seen that too. Last of the great 5 rivers he was. Arachesian dread, 18 bright corpse lights dancing above him, a huge long-beaked Arachesian skull as long as a 2-ribber crowned his prow, blank eye-holes staring out, his beak covered in metal to use as a ram. 20 huge gallivores on each side of the main deck, and many more standard bows below in the underdeck. A crew of over 400 that polished and shone every bone that made his frame so he was a blinding white against the sea. He'd seen her training a crew and he'd seen her fight. At a dock. Over a matter of honour when someone mentioned the circumstances of her birth. It was not a long fight. And when asked for mercy, well, she showed none. And he did not think it was in her, for she was 100 Isles and fleet to the core, cruel and hard. What light there was in the sky darkened. As if scared the godbird closed its eye to his fate, the fierce heat of the air fleeing as did that small amount of hope that had been in his breast. That single fluttering possibility that he could survive. Gone. He was about to fight Mayes Gilbrin, lucky Mayes, the most decorated, the bravest, the fiercest shipwife the 100 Isles had ever seen. He was going to die. And we'll stop there. That's from chapter 1 of The Bone Ships, which will be available from all good bookshops once you can go to bookshops again, which you can't at the moment. But it's available from online bookshops, online independent bookshops, which is lovely, keep them going. Big bookshops that you already know about as well. And they're also available there. They're very, very different. They're murder mysteries. This is a fantasy tale with a big dragon and big ships and all of those things. I've been RJ Barker. I'm doing Orbit's story time. I hope you've enjoyed that. I messed up a few bits, but it's not good reading if something doesn't mess it up. And there's also a bit in it that I've realised is like a tongue twister. I might practice that a bit more. But I hope you've enjoyed it. And good night. Thank you for spending a bit of your evening with me. The Bone Ships.